Good evening, I'm Jim Acosta in for Laura Coates on this Monday night, 10 days out from the highly anticipated debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump right here on CNN. And tonight, a moment from this past weekend is leading to questions about a candidate's mental fitness for office.
I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Johnson. Does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas?
It's actually Dr. Ronnie Jackson, not Johnson. Donald Trump there forgetting the name of his own doctor while challenging Biden to a cognitive test. If you've been watching right-wing media, that's probably not the moment you were expecting us to play. No, instead it is this clip that they've been circulating to question Biden's mental fitness. It's Biden at the end of his Los Angeles fundraiser from over the weekend. You can see him standing before a cheering crowd, and then Barack Obama grabs Biden by the hand and walks with him off stage. The New York Post, among others, claiming Biden froze. There is no evidence of that, but Fox and others have been replaying this on a loop, claiming otherwise. For his part, Mark Cuban weighed in, saying, quote, both candidates are old, very old. They both are going to have senior moments, misremember, forget things, and have physical frailties. He adds, one is great at sound bites, but also thinks in sound bites. The other is awful at sound bites, but thinks in complete sentences. Voters will decide which we prefer. Now, this all comes just days after Trump's allies pushed a misleading video of Biden at the G7 summit, falsely claiming he was meandering into a field when in fact he was thanking a skydiver who had been cropped out of the video. The White House tonight fed up and pushing back.
I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw.
As Trump's allies question Biden's fitness for office, Team Biden, meanwhile, is questioning Trump's. The Biden campaign out today with a $50 million buy on a new ad, hitting Trump as a convicted felon.
In the courtroom, we see Donald Trump for who he is. He's been convicted of 34 felonies, found liable for sexual assault, and he committed financial fraud. This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
Democrats have been warning that Trump would make an all-out assault on the justice system if elected. One of Trump's top allies, Steve Bannon, stoking those fears this weekend. Watch.
You are going to be investigated, prosecuted, and incarcerated. We're going to use the Constitution and the rule of law to go after you and hold you accountable. November 5th is Judgment Day. January 20th, 2025 is Accountability Day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. Victory or death.
Victory or death. Whatever happens in victory or defeat. If for some reason you were to doubt whether Trump keeps in touch with Steve Bannon, here's the former president calling Bannon during the middle of Bannon's show just today.
Hey, Carrie, hang on for 1 second. I got a call from someone I got to take. Just to hang on.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. President, I'm live on TV. Can I call back? I'll call you back, sir. Thank you. Carrie, go ahead, continue on. Your favorite person.
And joining us now is New York Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. You know, when you listen to Steve Bannon say things like November 5th is Judgment Day, January 20th, 2025 is Accountability Day, and you can write this off as that there goes Steve Bannon again. But after January 6th, you can't really do that. What's your reaction when you hear that?
No, remember Steve Bannon was the one on his podcast the day before January 6th who really rallied the troops, so to speak, to raid the Capitol. And now he's using the same rhetoric. So it's the same as Donald Trump. It's one thing if you do it the first time and you don't necessarily realize what the reaction will be. It's entirely different when you know what the reaction is to your violent rhetoric and you still continue to do it. So let's not make any mistake here. Steve Bannon knows exactly what he's doing. He is riling up a violent base that is the same base that invaded the Capitol and he is saying victory or death, which means either we win or we kill our opponent. That is the definition of fascism. And it is incredibly scary, Jim, to think that this is what we are facing in this next election. I don't want to talk about policy. We can talk about policy, all day long, but it's irrelevant. What we have is Steve Bannon and Donald Trump trying to destroy the country that we know.
And I mean, we do know that the Biden campaign is trying to sharpen its arrows a little bit. The Biden campaign released this new ad today directly going after Trump for his 34 felony convictions in New York. Polling suggests public sentiment has not exactly turned against Trump in any significant way. There's some new polling that shows maybe with independents, it might be having some effect. Do these ads make a difference? Do you think at the end of the day that this felony conviction will make a difference?
I do, Jim, and I think when you add the felony conviction to the fact that he was held liable for rape and for financial fraud in a civil context, what you realize is that Donald Trump is the most unfit person to become our president. And if he cannot own a gun, why would anyone ever give him sole authority over the nuclear codes? He is not the person that should lead this country. He will lead us into a completely different country than we know. And I'm happy to work across the aisle. I work across the aisle with many of my Republican colleagues on many different policy issues. But I cannot emphasize enough that what you're seeing from this revenge tour that he's on is not even Donald Trump in 2016. You are seeing someone who wants to get revenge for his own personal failings and his own personal misconduct. And he is using our government, he is using the possibility of becoming president to get back at his enemies, because all he cares about, and I've known this since 2019 when I led the first impeachment investigation, all he cares about is himself. And you have Joe Biden, on the other hand, who has been a lifelong public servant, who cares deeply about American families, about the average American, about making life better for Americans. That is a stark contrast, and it's one that we will be talking about from now until November 5th.
Well, and Congressman, you know you have a fight on your hands. The president's campaign is running that ad going after Donald Trump. You're seeing this criticism now on the far right and far right media saying the president froze over the weekend at this fundraiser in LA. When you see these videos, do they give you any concern? And if you're saying, okay, I have no concern there, what about the potential for mischief, that these videos can be manipulated, that they can be deceptively edited, and that you can pull the wool over folks' eyes from here until Election Day?
Well, we don't have to look very far.
Yeah.
That video that you're showing right now does not show someone freezing, does not show any help needed. It just simply shows two former colleagues, two friends walking off of the stage. But you can deceptively edit it to make it look like Joe Biden was unable to get off the stage, just as it was deceptively edited in Normandy when he was looking for a chair, and that they purported that there was no chair there. There was a chair there. He was just looking for his chair. So the deceptive videos to make Joe Biden look bad will continue. But at the end of the day, Jim, you have somebody who has led this country with such dignity, with such strength, has rallied our allies, has dealt with a terrible hand that Donald Trump gave him, and has done it really, really admirably. Not to mention the historic legislation that he passed in the last Congress that is completely revamping and revitalizing our infrastructure, that is building renewable energy, that is building manufacturing in this country, that is lowering prescription drugs for all Americans, lowering student debt. Joe Biden is the greatest president for the middle class that we have ever seen, and that will continue after November 5th.
All right, Congressman Dan Goldman, thanks very much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.